What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be checking in on a game called Tower of Kalemonvo. This is one of those games that I very much enjoyed the first time we checked it out. I thought that it was a really solid deconstruction of what Diablo's become, back into what Diablo used to be, back when it first came out, like the first Diablo, not Diablo 2, not bang bang shoot 'em up, blow up the entire screen zoom game, like a lot of action RPGs have become nowadays. Instead, this developer seems to have really enjoyed the idea of the original Diablo title, back when it was actually kind of a mixture of an RPG and a horror game, a sort of creeping despair type of game where you've got to camp around doors and you've got to be very careful about entering each and every single room. And I thought that made for a really good combo. So today, the game is now out. It's in early access. You can check the game out down below in the description. But I haven't played this game since last year when we took a look at a demo of it. I was very impressed by that demo. However, the demo did have some flaws that arose during that time that we spent with it. So I figured we'd update our coverage today and we just kind of see if this is one of those games that you wanted to add to your wish list, or if it's one of those games that you would rather not play for yourself. If after watching this, you did indeed want to get Tower of Kalemonvo, I've got a link for you down below in the description. You can check that out there. You can also find a bunch of other Nerd Castle links down there in case you wanted to give them the old love and touch and squeeze and clicky. But for now, let's dive on into it. So Tower of Kalemonvo, as I previously mentioned, this is a game that imagines like what Diablo 1 could have been if instead, so action RPGs nowadays have become very much all about the loot treadmill. The entire concept of an action RPG at this point is all about defeating things so that you can get the next drop, or you can optimize your drop so that you can optimize your build, and basically do the same thing but a little bit harder with a little bit higher of a drop rate each and every time. Tower of Kalemonvo approaches the action RPG genre from its origin points. So from where they started out at, it's a slow, creeping game where every single room is incredibly dangerous. There's not a lot of ways for you to heal your character. RNG is definitely a factor here. You can definitely feel, because the original Diablo actually had very heavy rogue influences inside of it. You can tell that it was kind of inspired by those sorts of games. And so anyways, this game imagines, what if instead of going in the rapid fire, blow up the entire screen direction that action RPGs have gone in, what if instead people had gotten attached to the horror elements, the strategic elements, the positioning elements, the stat planning elements, and it tries to chase that down. Right now, I've got a fresh character. I just made him. Character creation in this game is incredibly easy. It basically takes no effort whatsoever. You would basically just pick male or female, and then it throws you into the dungeon after you decide what your preset weapon is going to be. This is a game that does not have classes. You are manufacturing your build from the ground up as you move through. Oh my god, there's so many in there. That's a lot of Skeletors. Okay, so what we need to do is we need a door block over here. So these guys do have collision, and one strategy you're going to have to learn from the old days of Diablo is called standing indoors. I call this door blocking. Some people call it corner camping, but anyways, you would stand in a doorway like this because the mobs, they all have collision and they all occupy space on the overall world grid. And when you stand in a doorway like this is why this is one of the main strategies used in pretty much every single roguelike ever as well. It limits the amount of things that can smack you in the face so long as there's not any ranged guys available. Ooh, he tried to corner camp me back. Okay, fair play. You know, for something that's just like an empty skull levitating with magic and being mechanized through dark wizardries, they show a lot of intelligence every now and again. This right here is an obelisk, just like in the earlier Diablo games. You don't know in this game whether or not one of the shrines is going to do something good or do something bad. So when I click on this thing, it may increase my core attributes, it may like enchant a piece of gear, it may teach me a new spell. Conversely, it may drain one of my stats, it may lower my total HP, it may mess with me. However, I am a cavalier. I'm an adventurer coming down into the dungeon, and I am unafraid. Arcane whispers lead to new understanding. Well, none of our stats went up over here. Max mana didn't go up either. However, there is a list on the guides on Steam that tells you what every single whisper means, and so maybe it taught me a new spell. I'm not really too sure. says that it taught us a new spell, and in fact it did. It taught us Fireball. So at the beginning of this run, I prefer to play this game on Iron Man. I feel like, so normally, I'm not a big Iron Man game player. In general, permadeath is one of those things I avoid if a game gives me the option to avoid permadeath. In the case of this game, though, with how dangerous it is and how random it is, I find that the game is much, much better. It's a lot more intense. It's got a lot more anxiety-inducing figures and sort of features inside of it when I play on permadeath. And so I tend to play on permadeath, so we're going to be playing kind of adaptively today based on what it is that the game gives us. I haven't applied any attributes or stats just yet, so it doesn't really... I can shoot fireballs. I keep forgetting. And fireballs are actually pretty cheap. They're not that expensive. Ooh, should I pivot over to like a caster build? I don't know. This is working out pretty effectively right now. Like an early fireball is really kind of bringing this whole thing together. I'm going to drink a mana potion. Your potions in this game, they are in short supply. You should not be like willy-nilly quaffing left and right without paying attention to the overall numbers that comprise the amount of potions that you have left. We've got a cape right there. Can I equip that cape? Let's throw that cape on real fast. Was that... Oh, that's 4 dodge, 3 armor. I'll stick with the 4 armor for right now. I don't have the strength to wield any of these large axes, but we do have a nice supply of potions for right now that I'm pretty happy with. Stats are a little bit variable in between different pieces of equipment. You do have accuracy rating in this game, so you will be spending a lot of time missing at the beginning of the game. If that's a feature that irks you, this is just flatly not going to be the game for you. I know that in the past, I've been a big proponent that like maxing out your hit cap or maxing out your accuracy has never been compelling gameplay. And I'm willing to stand by that, but with this game, I kind of begrudgingly do it because it's one of those old holdovers from ancient RPGs, things like Ultima and whatnot that, you know, I think it helps sell the old school thing that the game is trying to do in this case, and kind of in this case alone. For every rule that I have for myself, there's also exceptions. I love the fact that my fireball instantly kills them off. Maybe we'll do like a spellblade thing. Maybe that's what we'll do. I do need to get some more mana. Yeah, just keep them whittled up. It's nice to have a ranged attack to kind of like whittle these guys down before they get to me. We've got a rusty sword right there, but in general at the beginning of the game, you want to avoid anything that has the tag like rusty on it because it means that the attack rating has been pretty severely nerfed on that item. That does give us 1 damage overhead though on our top end, so I'll take it. I don't know what we're going to run into. The dungeon is proceduralized every single time. As far as the storyline goes, in this game, you are an adventurer that's following a large party of adventuring paladins that have gone into this tower. Wasn't there a chest over here just a second ago? Was I completely making that up inside my head? I swear to God, there was a giant gold chest inside of here, wasn't there? Is it just like a pile of dead bodies now? Did it try to like throw me off? Oh, that's evil, bro. I don't like that at all. Is it like an illusionary like mass grave? It is. It's an illusionary mass grave. Actually, it looks like we may have gotten locked in here by some kind of illusion too. It looks like the walls are kind of moving around on me. Don't know exactly what that means, but nothing's clickable over there, so I'm going to leave it alone. You will find weird points of interest and stuff inside the dungeon. Occasionally, you will find, like, Dark Souls-style guys that sit around and speak in vague allusions, metaphors, things of that nature that, oh my god, what in the hell are you? Okay, well, you're going to eat Fireball for right now, because I don't know if I can beat you in fisticuffs. I don't have any mana. There we go. Are you dead? Do I get the chest now? Did it come back? Oh, it did. Sick, dude. Okay, I've never seen that event before. I've been playing the game all morning, and I've never seen that. So we have a precise rusty sword of sating. That's probably good for us. Pick up all the potions as well. Looks like we've got a shatterproof wooden shield right there, too. So I'm going to have to do some inventory management here. Maybe we'll go sword and board with just, like, the slightest influence. So with precision right here, that has 7 attack rating on it, and it gives me 5 more mana. So technically we lucked out early, and we got a mage blade that's going to help us out a little bit with our casting. Okay, I can live with it. What's up with this shield right here? Is this shield any good? So we've got a shatterproof wooden shield. Its dodge has been doubled. Okay, I mean, it's better than what we had on hand. The downside here is that we're losing a little bit of armor in order to gain, like, the slightest amount of dodge. I don't think the game gives you any, like, specifics either on like what percentages your dodge gives you or what your attack rating gives you versus a similar enemy of the same level. The developer is very, very big on not giving you information to kind of drive up ambience and atmosphere. I think it works, but then again, there's the part of me that's been playing action RPGs my entire life, and I've been like stat maxing for a very, very, very long time, and so like I find myself wanting to know precisely what the numbers do inside of this game. But alas, I suppose we shall never know. Let's get back over to now that we're out of that weird illusory wall area that we were in, let's head back on over to the right, and we'll see if we can get a little bit further on into the dungeon. I do find that the aesthetic with this game is really, really dialed in. One thing that I think a lot of game developers target but never quite pull off is sort of that vibe. So really, this is a really, really good thing to shoot for. But anyways, you know that feeling you had when you were like 11 years old? You just got back from 6th grade, it's a rainy day, you can't really go out with your friends and ride bikes or do anything else like that. So instead, you decided to stay home and play like Diablo 1 or Diablo 2. Maybe you don't. Maybe that was way before your time, but I assure you, depressingly, it was not before my time, and in fact, it feels like it was just yesterday. There was a certain sort of almost ASMR level vibe that would fill the air on a day like that, where mom and dad aren't home, you're a latchkey kid, sitting in a dark house with the rain falling outside, maybe the window cracked, the room is dark, and you're playing a dungeon crawler like Diablo, or you're playing something like Nox, or you're playing something like Arcanum, you know, one of those old titles. There was this sort of like, I don't even really know what to call it, almost like a trance you could get into while you were playing games like that with that similar setting and the cold wind blowing in through the window. Like, this game kind of captures that, and I don't know if it's aesthetic and lighting based or how they bottled up that lightning, but they managed to figure it out. This is not a complex game, in my experience, from what I've played so far. I think I've dumped about 6 hours into the game between the demo and the main release build. I have never made it to the top of the tower yet. Not always by dying, but like, I'm a rerollaholic. I don't know if you're like me when it comes to video games, but I get to like a certain point in the game where it all becomes easy and I'm like bulldozing everything that would be a challenge, and then I just don't finish out the game. Like, I re-roll real fast because, to me, I think the struggle of starting up a character and having a bad time in the early dungeon when you have a lot less resources and things to draw on is a big part of the appeal of sort of like hardcore RPGs to me. What did that ring do right there? More mana. Okay. And then more dodge. Yeah, this is kind of going in interesting directions. I do have a little bit of stat points that I can spread around. I would say, first and foremost, let's get our attack rating up by a couple. I would say let's get a little bit more mana, because we have actually been firing off a lot of mana lately. I'm going to let's focus on dodge for now, I guess. Normally, I tend to be a player that goes with a lot of armor. I really enjoy the experience of being like the bastion on which the wave breaks. You know, that's a vibe that makes me happy in video games. Dude, that fireball spell was like the best pickup ever. So at the beginning of the game, you don't typically start out with spells. You can have like a wand that gives you range attacks or whatever, but really you're waiting in the wings in this title to see what your first spell is going to be before you decide if you want to dedicate to magic or not. And dude, getting mana, like getting fireball this early is just absolutely fantastic, because melee is kind of a sucker play in Tower of Kalemonvo. Melee can work. I've made it really, really far with melee, but due to the way that they've got the attributes spread out, building up melee and getting to that point where you're a juggernaut god that just slashes everything to death can actually be kind of challenging along the way. And so you've got to split your stat points in a lot of different directions. And so a lot of the other sort of cobbled together classes, things like rangers or things like wizards, they tend to have an easier time getting up and getting started, just due to the fact that they've got to apply their points in less places. So like a warrior is going to need strength, because that's going to be the limit on what abilities that you can get from your spell book. He's going to need dexterity, because that's hit rating. He's going to need constitution, because that's HP. He's probably going to have to pick up a little bit of intelligence as well, so that you can get some supplementary spells and increase your spell wheel slots. Honestly, I feel like melee just has to split themselves in a lot of directions. And so if you're going to do melee, you should do melee as like a secondary thing in this game, and you should have a different gimmick. And the good news that I'm looping back back to here, this did all have a point, is that we got that fireball spell, which means that we have an easy, accessible, cheap, and mana-efficient way to kill enemies from a range before they close the gap with us, which can be the case in this game. It can be actually pretty difficult to get that going. Yeah, I pulled back too far, and now they're going to surround and pound me. I need to find a doorway. Let's go back over here. This will work. All right, stop right there. Perfect. Yup. We got an elite inside of there, too. Hopefully it drops good loot. No guarantees, though. There are no health bars in this game, in case you just noticed that. However, the developer did cave on. I remember looking that up the last time that I played this game, like, why? So what was the logic behind not having health bars? And frankly, I kind of respect the simplicity of it. The developer responded back like, I think health bars ruin my immersion. Therefore, in a game that I make, I don't want health bars. And I was like, fair enough. It ruins the guy's immersion, and he's making a game that he wants to play. He's not worried about anybody else wanting to play it, and so he's making it tailored to the design that he sees inside of his head, and I actually kind of respect that he was just like, meh. But he did offer other options in this current build. So in the last year, since the last time we checked the game out, he's added an outline that you can enable or you can disable through the options, where there's a colored outline around the outside of every single enemy, and it gets progressively more and more and more red as you smack them as they get closer to death. And so I've got that enabled right now, just because I like having some idea how much health the enemy's at. They also get battle damage, so like their textures and also their model will have like parts that get chunked out and whatnot as you're hitting them. That used to be the way that you told beforehand, before they added the outline, how close you were to kill. Dude, I have so much mana right now. Maybe I should lean. Ooh, Silver Skull. There are not monies in this game. There are vendors, but every vendor in this game only takes a rare currency called Silver Skulls, which we just picked up one of. And the transactional nature of this game is actually kind of limited. Oh my god. I have so many mana pots that I'm just going to kite these guys out. We're going to get our sorceress on Diablo 2 style and just spam fireballs all day long until there's less of them here to harass me. Perfect. How are we looking on potions right now? We're looking pretty good on mana potions, so I'm going to chug another one before we get back up in here. But as I was saying, there are vendors in this game. They show up randomly during your playthrough. I think there's like 2 or 3 of them that are guaranteed on certain floors, and they will just flatly trade you the item you want from their inventory for a Silver Skull. And then back up the stairs we go. I thought we hadn't found the stairs yet, but I looked at the map with my eyes that were not being impeded by my commentary, and I noticed that the stairs were already on the map. Fantastic. But it does behoove you in this game because there's no farming. Like, I can't go back and clear the first level over and over and over again if I run into a challenge that I can't defeat. And so it is a really good idea in this game to 100% every single floor that you possibly can. Just stand right there, and we'll let them filter in one by one. Goodbye, little ghouls. There we go. I think dodge is actually working out okay here. As of yet, I can't appraise what my dodge chance is, but I definitely see us not taking damage frequently when the enemy is coming in our direction. So, like, we might be okay here. Is there anything tucked back in this little cranny on this side? There is Enchanter's Lifeblood. So what Enchanter's Lifeblood does, if we feed an item to this thing, it'll spit it back out with a magic modifier. I don't really have anything on me right now that I'm highly passionate about enchanting. Like, we've had some things that are enchanted already, but nothing here has a gnarly enough stat spread that, like, gets me super husky that I feel like I should waste. This is a limited resource. You gotta, this is a slow playing game. You gotta kind of like think about how you want to use this stuff. You can go back down to lower floors. There's a boss inside this room right here, so we'll whack him real fast and see if he comes back with anything spicy that's actually going to be helpful for our build. Let's go, where's he at? Boss man, you in here? Very, very good job with the aesthetic, by the way, just making this game look good. Just bomb him out with as many fireballs as we possibly can. We'll beef with him right here for a second. One of the things I would highly recommend adding to this game, so you would free up, the control scheme of this game is intentionally obtuse in order to like emulate Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. So I don't know how many of you were back in the day on Diablo 2, but Diablo 2 had sort of like UI limits on how many things that you could equip for your character while you were going down into dungeons. This game has those same, ooh, the Coat of the Maw, nice, dude. Shocking Discharge as well. What do? 5 dodge, 2 armor, we get 2% health stolen per hit, and we return a damage to the attacker. Throw that on right there. Okay, so we found ourselves a unique light armor very, very early on in our playthrough. Pretty happy about that too. We're going to take our intelligence up to 2. That way we can learn more level 1 spells, and then from there, let's focus a bit. I said I was going to focus up on attack rating. I'd like to bring strength up to like 14 or 15. That way we're just getting a little bit of additive damage every time we smack something. And then from there, the only thing we're instantaneously going to get any real benefit out of is either health or mana. Probably mana, because I've been very, very spam happy lately. This cauldron right here is going to give you a loose selection of abilities. One of them restores your mana, one of them restores your health, but at a cost. If you use it, you lose max mana or max health whenever you utilize those utilities. And so they kind of function as an oh shit button potion if you're all out of potions and RNG has not been kind to you in your drops. But in general, you kind of just want to leave them in your spellbook and ignore them until that moment when all is lost and you definitely need it. Let's keep diving on in. The game does have multiple biomes, in case you were wondering. We're not going to be inside of dungeons forever. There are like occult shrines. There's all kinds of things as you get further on into the dungeon that will kind of spice up the visual fare of the game. But honestly, ooh, that mace is pretty nice. It's got attack rating 8 on it too. I'm willing to bet it's probably a little bit slower than the sword we currently have. I need 13 strength in order to wield it. Oh, it's got normal attack speed. So we're upgrading our low end and our high end in exchange for 1 attack rating, which I think will actually work out pretty well. I don't think that I'm that upset about that exchange. Giant bug monster, we'll just get him taken care of. We also have a shrine over here that I'm feeling like would be a good idea to click. Yeah, you get out of here. There we go. I ain't got no time for groovy ghoulies down in here, dude. There we go. Perfect. But as I was saying, the UI in this game kind of heavily limits how much you can like spam abilities and actively swap between abilities, and I think that's because of the clunkiness of how the potion system works. So potions should stack by type when they're inside the display. So like, it's fine if potions are free-flowing inside your inventory like this, but inside your hot slots, really these left 2 should be like, you should have like 3 slots right here. A health potion, you slot in the type you want right there, and then it just gives you the number of how many you have. That's on your Q key. On 2, you have your mana potions, that's on your E key, and then your 3 is like other things, because this game doesn't just have health and mana potions. It has like immunity potions and like all kinds of random potions that help you out in various ways with debuffs or making your character more efficient. You can slot one in right there. That would be like your F key. Then these 3 right here would be 1, 2, and 3. You slot abilities in right there. When they're slotted in, you hit that hotkey to put them on your right click real fast, which still maintains the old school feeling. Like right now, they've got like a weapon wheel thing that's kind of like hard to fire off in the middle of combat. Like it feels very, very clunky. It sort of keeps me personally just out of laziness. Oh, they taught me a new spell. It sort of keeps me out of laziness from interacting with much more than like 2 or 3 spells. Like I will occasionally hot swap between things. As it stands right now, a lot of the spells in the game also have a default keybind that if you hit it, it automatically puts them on your right click, but you've got to memorize them. They're only displayed inside of your spell book, so if you forget which ones they are, it's not really going to help you in combat. So a fair bit of muscle memory that has to go on into it, but I do wish that the abilities UI would be a little bit better arranged to make like ability swapping faster and more seamless in the midst of like intense combats or whatever. I don't know. I think that's one of the main things I tripped over, is that like I found certain builds and things that I wanted to do where I was like, okay, that seems like it might be interesting if I open with this hit and then like I swap over to this and then I do that and then I swap over to this. Ooh, this is not a great room for me. Okay. So we're gonna have to deal with this one from, oh, that one's named. I didn't even notice. Okay, I'm all out of mana potions. Oh, I got ghouls everywhere. Okay, fall back over to here. Wait for him to come back, and if I get a second, I'll replenish my mana. Yeah, that works. You can come stand in the doorway. I don't mind that. We got another skill book right there. Great Snake. Great Snake is actually pretty good. So given the relative lack of mana potions and things like that in this game that you kind of have to like work your way around. I find that having summons that just occasionally peel off an enemy and then just tank them for a little bit while you're dealing with other problems can actually be, it can generate huge dividends over the course of like a 4-hour dungeon dive when it comes to like conserving the things that you have on you. I'm going to learn both those spells. We're going to throw that out. I was holding on to it for reasons that there's no point explaining now, but I was holding on to that. We will take Great Snake. These robes right here are 3 and 4. Close. I do like returning damage to our attackers, though, because most of our enemies only have a couple of HP. We got Shocking Discharge right there, the Bull's Crown, Mana Potion, a Spear of Virility, or Spears one-handed. I don't think I've ever rocked Spears thus far, so I don't know if it's going to be a two-handed type deal or what. That one's dead. I'm going to try to get them, because I don't want to, like, chase them around and get kited. There we go. Just kill everything that you possibly can for right now, because we've got potions laying on the ground because our inventory's full, which is honestly a really good place to be with this game. These guys are, honestly, this is one of the most dangerous rooms you can get in the early game because the arrows stagger you from time to time based on your armor. Oh, we've got an elite in here too. Even better. Okay. I'm just going to fireball you real quick. We're going to... Oh, my God. I am getting dumpstered right now. Just keep throwing fireballs. There's no reason to get crazy busy with this fight. Kill him, please. Kill a bad guy, please. Oh, my God. The HP on that dude. Okay. Say what you will, but the Mosca had a big old chin on him. I gotta rearrange some potions over here. I'm sure something's gonna shoot me with an arrow at any moment, and then I will be frustrated. But we need to go a little easier on mana. I've been spending too much mana. Alright, well, we're not leveled up yet. We do have a crossbow over there. The spear was what I was interested in. We also have Shocking Discharge on this side. It's never good. Oh, that crown's not bad. Same stats as what I had previously. Only difference is it gives me a bunch of free attributes. As long as I don't start reading those attributes to be like default built-in values that I'm using to plan my build around, I think we'll be okay. The spear still won't fit. All right, give me my spear because I want to see if it's one-handed. That might actually be... I think it is one-handed. We may want to go spear build right here. Little bit of Javazon, maybe? Is that kind of what we're leaning towards right now? We're still like in the opening phases of this game. There's a lot more to come. It'll probably take you a good solid chunk of time to get down to the bottom of the dungeon, especially if you're playing on Iron Man like I like to do. Hey, health potion. I'll take it. Anything is good. Let's have a look at this spear then. So with the spear that I currently have... You can't do that. It's actually two-handed, which kind of sucks. I'm not in love with it, but it does give us a big DPS increase. I'm going to run back down to the bottom floor and maybe throw my enchantment on it because it looks like to me we're actually like leaving the area. So we also have potions everywhere down here. A strong mace. Okay. Glimmering potion. And a upper level book of ice spike. That'll probably be something. Well, I have good news. I opted to enchant the mace instead of the spear. Because they have similar damage, similar attack speed, and I get to carry a shield for the extra defensive bonuses. And we got Precise, actually, which is a really, really good modifier. It's 5 free attack rating. So that should actually allow us to ease up a little bit when it comes to adding points to dexterity, I think. Alright, let's see what this spear does now that we're back inside the actual operating section of the dungeon. Since there is backtracking in this game, I would also... Ooh, okay. We're pretty accurate with a spear, dude. I wasn't expecting to hit this many things. Get him softened up. Oh, he still got that hit off. That's a I see you. You're not fooling anybody right now. I see you. You might think you're invisible, but you're not. All right, let's get that right there. That'll fill us back up. Yeah, we're sending them into flight mode instantly when we smack them, which is nice. Get back up in here. I need to get my damage up, though, so that my health regeneration actually matters. I think right now we're getting, like, a fraction. of the actual output we could be getting. That axe got really bad attack rating on it. I don't want it. Leave it on the ground where it lies. There is no selling of items in this game, so don't feel guilty about throwing it on the ground if you don't need it. You don't think you'll ever need it. Worst case is that you have to backtrack, and since there is backtracking in this game, to continue my earlier thought, I do think it'd be a good idea where if a player kills every single mob on a floor of the dungeon, from then on they get a 50% movement speed boost just for moving around that floor, because there's no threats anymore. And like when you have to backtrack to use a shrine or whatever, there's no need to keep the user confined to the ultra slow movement speed that they come with by default. Oh my god, I'm at the slip and weave in here. Got you. Ow. Staggered. Got you. It'd also be kind of nice if I could get a modifier on one of my pieces of gear that would give me a little bit of mana back whenever I kill an enemy. I had like a couple of items on my last run where I was getting like 2 or 3 mana every time I killed an enemy that made the game highly spammable. So moving from like Diablo 1 to Diablo 2 territory where I didn't really have to worry about mana that much. Like all I had to do was like melee every now and again and my mana always seemed to stay positive. Let's go northwards, I guess, and never turn down a potion. I'll always take a free potion. Get them all nice and stabbed and ganked. Maybe this would be a good time to stand in a doorway. Doesn't matter because they skeeve through the doorway, so unfortunately we are locked into this fight. Luckily the ghoul went away. Like when they take a certain requisite amount of damage, they go into flight mode, which can make them kind of a pain in the ass to catch, but it's not really that big of a deal. What's up with that sword? Rusty? Okay, don't care about it. Always on the lookout for new bonuses. You, I think, are the one that I want to die most. I mean, I am getting HP back on hit every now and again. It's not helping a ton, but, like, I think it's helping out a little bit. Like, un poco. You know, un poquito. I think we might have to get rid of our legendary armor because what does this require in order for me to put it on? So get rid of the sword. Get rid of that mace right there. I don't need it. What do I need to put that on? Constitution? Constitution and strength. But it is flatly stat capped better than our previous Cloak of the Maw that we've got equipped right now. So, like, maybe I'll hold on to it for a little bit. Maybe we'll find an enchantment that's worth throwing on it. Yeah, maybe avoid getting fireballed right now. I'm not doing a very good job at it. And this is a special room that can spawn. Each one of these pedestals either gives you a potion or it gives you a skill book. So you'll definitely want to activate each of these podiums right here just to see what you get. Purifying Circle's not too bad. I ran Purifying Circle on my last run. I need intelligence, though. Like, I'm going to have to get a little bit smarter. I don't know, like, where I want to terminate putting points into intelligence, though, because aside from it allowing you to learn new spells, it basically has no other function. I think we got an elite inside of here. I can repay you. I know all the secrets of these halls. Do I let him out? I don't know if I let him out. Release me from my prison? It's betrayal. Fool! Alright. Oh my god. He hit so hard. I was trying to see if I could bait him into, like, maybe swinging at me or something. Yeah, there's the hit. This guy hits like a truck. This guy is terrifying. Okay. I'm just gonna stay away from him for a minute. We're gonna drink from there. There we go, we got him. What'd you drop? The Lashing Claw, 10 attack rating. Okay. So we got a few spicy things inside of here, and he filled up my potion bar for me. I appreciate you. I'm just clearing out the dungeon right now because, like, we've already found the exit nice and bright and early. Maybe I'll start getting rid of some of these spell books. I don't know. We're carrying around a lot of spell books right now for a lot of what ifs. Right now, I could get up to summon snakes, which might be helpful, maybe. Like, I wouldn't be against summoning snakes. I think summoning snakes sounds like a pretty good play. All right, let's summon some snakes. We're gonna get it snacking up in here. We've got a legendary sword. Increases damage by 1/1 on hit and then resets on miss. That's actually kind of spicy. That may work out. The downside here is I won't have the stats to apply for a while to get my melee back up and operating, basically. So there we go. Sort those out right there. I need to set up my spell book. And all my spells are set up now so that I can swap in between them real fast when I need them. But for the moment, let's get our snakes on the field of battle. There we go. Battle snakes. Ready to ride. I was pretty excited about that mace. You ever, like, get a drop and you're excited about the drop and then you get a better drop right after and then you're like, oh, dude. And now we gotta let the battle snakes ride. See how they do. As long as I have hit rating, this weapon should be able to, like, accelerate up to ridiculous levels of damage. Yeah, it's already, like, one-shotting because I haven't missed in a lot of swings, especially with the cooked-in attack rating on this thing. Like, what is the attack rating? It's got 10 attack rating. There we go. So there was our first miss right there. But on that last one, we managed to get the damage up to 16 out of 16 on every single swing. Does hitting barrels help out with it? I don't think barrels trigger it, so we might have to watch out for that. Shocking discharge ready to go. It's not even that expensive either. All right, boys, let's do this thing. Let's dance, fancy men. Aw, the bug killed one of my snakes got murdered, dude. Now I gotta summon another snake. You know how physically and mentally exhausting it is to control a horde of snakes with my mind? It's very, very difficult. People really underappreciate how much willpower it takes to maintain the role of a snake wrangler. It's very, very difficult. Definitely not a course of action for the timid. But this is Tower of Kalemonvo. I think the game is really, really good. It's fun to think about the what-ifs in the history. Oh, this might be it for me. It's fun to think about the what-ifs in gaming, I suppose. Like, what if what really resonated with people about Diablo 1 was the horror and the dungeon crawling instead of the loot and the builds and the efficiency, you know what I mean? I think those are very, very interesting questions that lead to interesting games being created. That's got 5 dodge on it. Same dodge as what I've got. Yeah, I'll just take the cape, dude. Just throw the thing on the ground. I need to have a cape that flaps when I spin around, dude. You gotta have the cape. Kind of like self-respecting hero doesn't have a rad-ass cape. I think the main flaws with this game are just that it has a clunky UI for the sake of having a clunky UI. It doesn't really add anything to the game. It only detracts. So if they could come up with a much more efficient way for the player to actively swap in between abilities or cast, I do think that that would be very much appreciated, at least for me personally. It's also just not going to be a game that's for everybody. This is a game that's capitalizing very, very heavily on sort of nostalgia and old school vibes. And I think that people that like grew up with the new school style of action RPGs may summarily not like the game quite as much as those of us that are old as hell and have been around since dinosaurs roamed the earth, that very much think back fondly on when this is what RPGs were like. They were slow, creeping, foreboding sorts of games where you were constantly concerned about losing your character. As of right now, I like Tower of Kalemonvo. I would recommend Tower of Kalemonvo, but my recommendation would be like, somebody's like, man, I wish they made games like Diablo 1 again. And I'd be like, oh, brother, do I have a recommendation for you? And then outside that, I'd probably recommend something more new or modern. But this game, it fulfills a niche, and it fulfills that niche like the risk. So a lot of niche games are trying to make a game that speaks to someone, but on accident they make a game that does not speak to anyone. That's a very, very real pitfall that I see games falling into. This game is not that game. This game does a pretty fantastic job at isolating what made Diablo 1 great, and then just sort of adding some new frills and some new things that you can do with it. It's got great atmosphere. It's got really, really good ambience. It's a game that feels nice to play. It definitely invokes that old school feeling when you're crawling around inside the dungeons. But if you're looking for an action RPG that's much more modern, akin to like Diablo 3, Diablo 4, or something like Path of Exile, may not be the game for you. Just stick with those games. But if you want to play Diablo 1 with a lot more thingies in it to fool around with, then I think the developer hit the nail dead on the head. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for stopping on in. That's all I got for you, folks. Goodbye.